Find out till 5 o'clock this morning that it was canceled, and then we were on the phone for, 7 hours?
7 hours before they answered.
44 minutes before they answered the phone because it was so backlogged.
They said they were having problems. They wouldn't say what it was, and you're lucky you got a flight.
The weather's fine in all connecting areas. There's no bad weather. There's got to be something behind the scenes that they're not telling us.
Southwest passengers are not happy. Even more cancellations today after the airline canceled nearly 2,000 flights over the weekend, disrupting plans and leaving travelers stranded. The company blaming air traffic control issues and weather for the travel mess. But the FAA responded to Southwest statements without naming the airline and said those issues were limited to Friday afternoon only. But there is widespread speculation that the vaccine mandate might be behind it. Senator Ted Cruz tweeting this: Joe Biden's illegal vaccine mandate at work. Suddenly, we're short on pilots and air traffic controllers. Hashtag thanks, Joe. Harris, obviously that's speculation, of course, but at the same time, it's undeniable that the vaccine mandate is causing widespread, recorded consternation among employees, that those who have questions and are confused about things were not met with education and answers. They were met with mandates, and they are retiring, leaving the workforce, and making other decisions in droves.
Well, they were met with mandates by someone who lied to us and said that he would never do this when he was a candidate for president. And look, I don't use that word lie easily. We have miles of tape of him saying it as a candidate, right? So, I mean, we have receipts. We know that he promised that that wasn't something that he was into or would ever put into place, and that's been the answer back. But I don't think it is speculation to say that it's part of the problem. I don't think that you can point to one singular thing and say, oh, it's all the mandates. But if someone is hurting and then you kick them in the shins, you can say that that last kick did a lot of damage. And so you can probably say that about this situation. So AAA just surveyed 258 emergency services organizations across the country. So yeah, it's inconvenient, you can't fly, so on and so forth. It's worse if you call 911 and no one comes. And if your wait times are lengthening. And they're saying that worker shortages in the coming months and year are going to be at a peak. And again, you can't just point to the mandates and say that, but what you can say is there are a fair amount of medical professionals, EMTs, EMS, nurses, doctors who are saying no to the vaccine mandate. It's not necessarily that they are opposed to a vaccine. They just don't want to be told what to do. Well, if that manages to infect areas that we simply cannot live without, like law enforcement, first responders, and arguably travel too, if you haven't seen your family in the pandemic and you just want to hug them again, regardless of what Fauci says about Halloween. But I mean, if all of that is on your plate, then yeah, the mandates don't help. They're part of the problem.
And let's say, so if it's one of many factors, what is also undeniable is that all of those factors flow from this administration. All of the regulations, all of the burdens, all of the things that are affecting Americans in their ability to get work, keep work, hire people, survive in their livelihood, go about their business, have their child be educated, etc. Those are all being constrained, depleted, or destroyed by this administration.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's like just layer upon layer, new regulations, new rules, new laws, new mandates. You know, and it was the Health and Human Services Secretary who said, you know, we've made this investment in people. You know, we gave you $3 trillion. Therefore, we get to tell you to take the vaccine. We get to take your personal medical information. It's ours now. And that is the mentality. And, you know, one of the things that I did like about the Trump administration was the idea of cutting 2 regulations for every new one that was implemented. And it's very interesting here because it is going to be the unions that push back the hardest, and Democrats will not be able to say no to them. They, you know, it's like they would love to have the convenient narrative that it's only Trump voters who are crazy anti-vaxxers who are pushing against the vaccine. But that's a really good point that you made. There's a big difference between pushing back against vaccine and pushing back against the vaccine mandate. Plenty of vaccinated people don't want the vaccine mandate.
That's right.
And Morgan, that's why people are requiring or requesting there to be alternatives. There's a way to go about the push by the administration in a less draconian way.
Yeah, so in the case of Southwest, as it relates to these private businesses, they're mandating the vaccines, and I believe that private entities should be able to do that. But I thought to myself when all of this started, where are the unions in all of this? There's going to be a ton of pushback, whether it's federal unions or, the union that, of course, you're seeing not just for Southwest, but for other airlines. And so these sorts of things have to go through the process. They should have been negotiated with the heads of the unions. Especially for private sector companies, you have to say, does the company mandate any other vaccines? And listen, the bottom line is, as many of you have pointed out, I'm a big supporter of the vaccine. I think you should talk to your doctor about it and make the right decision. But these sort of draconian ways of ruling hand over fist over people without including everyone in the process is what's leading to the backlash.
Brian, is this going to be the beginning of the end, where are enough industries going to be affected, enough workers are going to sick out to send the message to the administration, this is not tenable, this is unsustainable, or do we have to endure more?
You mean hundreds of thousands of military men and women who aren't taking the vaccine? Has anyone seen that story? Have you seen that United has mandated it, and maybe Southwest is about to? By the way, Southwest and their seating arrangement does not work. Please stop it. It's too stressful. It reminds me of musical chairs when I used to stay home from parties because the stress of not getting a seat was just too much for me as a young child, and it's still too much for me now with the Southwest seating arrangement. You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I just don't know why they're delayed. It reminded me of the Blues Brothers scene when they asked people why they were late. They asked, I think it was John Belushi, why he was late. He said, unexpected guest, my car had a flat tire, it wouldn't start. They had every excuse. They kept throwing excuses, and nothing stuck. So I don't have the answer to this, but if Ted Cruz is right and it's the mandate, this is the canary in a coal mine, stop it. It's getting out of control.
Why won't the White House address this?
They're busy? Yeah, they're on vacation?
We see them, they have a ducking manner about them. They're either patting themselves on the back randomly for no reason, or they're absolutely avoiding. They have absolute approach avoidance.